Happy Friday. This is Stephanie with Apex Languages again for another Words of the Week. And we have a twofer for you this week, chronic and acute. Let's start with chronic. Okay, as always, let's start by saying the word chronic, chronic, chronic. What part of speech is it? Adjective. Okay, the ick is a very common adjective ending. Where does it come from? Greek. Okay, it comes from chronos, which means time. Kronos was actually the god of time. He was Zeus's father. And you're going to see that word occasionally. Words like chronological, that means the order, the order of time. So anytime you see something with a chron there, it has to do with time. Now, students ask me sometimes about the CH. That can be frustrating in English because most of the time it makes the ch sound. That's the IPA spelling for ch, okay? But sometimes it makes a k, a hard C sound. Why is that? Well, the reason is that most of the words with that hard C sound come from Greek. That's the way the Greeks would pronounce this. So there's a logic to it. The problem is, how do you know how to pronounce it? Well, unless you're a trained etymologist and you know all the origins of all the words, I do my part, but it can be hard. The best advice I can give you is that Greek words in English tend to be related to science and things related to that. So, school, you go to school and you study chemistry, right? That's a science. You learn about technology, how to use the computer, right? Technology. You're in English class, you're in literature, and you learn about different characters in the story. Character. Okay, the Greeks were famous for their plays. Chaos. That's when nothing goes wrong. Or sorry, when everything goes wrong and nothing goes right. Okay, chaos is a Greek word. And when everything is chaotic, you see the IC again, that's an adjective. It gives you a big headache. People hate this word, headache. Okay, it has to do with medicine, so it's a hard C. Okay, and then chlorophyll. I included this one, it's a science word, but you can also see the PH, and that's another sign that you've got yourself a Greek word. The PH that sounds like an F, as in Stephanie. I like this one personally. So, what does chronic mean? The hint is in the origin. It has to do with time, continuing for a long time or reoccurring frequently. Because of her arthritis, she suffers from chronic pain. Okay, chronic pain, arthritis, you don't have to get into an ambulance because you've got arthritis in your hands, right? It's not life-threatening. It's annoying. It hurts, but not extremely. So chronic pain is something that is a mild pain that lasts for a long time or that keeps coming back. Okay. I usually get a chronic cough every fall through the winter. Thank God it finally went away. But for 3 months, I had a cough. Last year, for 4 months, I had a cough, or possibly even longer. Every year, so my cough is chronic both because it comes back every year and it lasts a lot longer than the cough should. Okay, so that is the classic example of chronic. I'm not sick. I don't feel pain, but it sure is annoying and I'd like it to stop. Okay, it takes a long time. The second sentence, the world seems to be plagued by chronic war. As soon as one is resolved, it seems another begins. So again, repetition, okay? Either long time or it keeps coming back. The other word that we are comparing again is acute. Let's say it together. Acute, acute, acute. What part of speech is acute? It's also an adjective, and it comes from the Latin, from acer, sharp, or acus, needle. We'll come back to those in a minute. But first, I've got some adorable pictures for you to look at. Oh, aren't they cute? Cute actually came from acute originally. It was a shortened version of it. And at the beginning, it meant sharp as in being smart or clever. Then in the mid-1800s, in the United States, college students started using it in the way that we do now, a very different meaning. Uh, Sometimes someone will say, "Oh, that's cute," and they could mean that it's adorable, but they could also be talking down to you and saying, "You are kind of simple. You're like a baby, okay? You're adorable, but not very smart." So the word has changed a lot in not very much time. What does the real acute mean? Well, these marshmallows don't seem as excited as they were in the last picture. It means sharp, severe, intense, serious, but often short. Okay? Acute is the opposite or antonym of chronic. Because again, chronic was something that was mild, a mild pain that lasted a long time. An acute pain hurts a lot. It is very severe. It is very serious. Because the acute infection was so severe, he had to stay in the hospital for a week. Okay? Now, compare that with my cough that lasts for months and months, right? So, acute isn't always super short, but it tends to be shorter than chronic, okay? And so they balance each other out. I hope you can see now the reason why I'm comparing these two words. Chronic is often used incorrectly, even by native speakers, because this association with a disease that lasts for a long time makes people think that it's serious. But if I say chronic pain, it means it has everything to do with time. The word comes from time. Okay, it's lasting for a long time. Acute, on the other hand, looks exactly the opposite. Oh, it's a cute pain, right? Oh, it's like a little cute marshmallow, little cute baby. No, acute is anything but cute. It is terribly intense. Okay, acute is a bad thing. That can be very confusing. And so I want to make it clear. This is flu season, right? A lot of people are going to their doctors. So these are two very good words to be familiar with and not confuse. Okay? Chronic, mild, but long term. Acute, intense, lots of pain, but usually short-lived, relatively. Okay? Now, it doesn't only have to do with disease. There is an acute shortage of hotels right now, while so many people flee from the hurricane, right? So it's serious, right? It's a bad thing. Now, let me step back a moment and explain that medically, acute is always bad. However, acute does have another meaning. Okay? Sensitive to slight details, sharply perceptive. Okay? So it's sharp in a different sense of the word. Sharp can also mean smart. Okay? Your intelligence cuts like a knife, which incidentally, cut is from Old English. It's not related to acute, even though that would make a lot much more sense than cute being related. In any case, dogs have an acute sense of hearing much stronger than humans. So acute sight, acute hearing, okay, acute intelligence. These are all strong. They're sensitive because they're Good. They're strong senses. Okay. And then that was an acute observation. You must be very smart. Okay. You're perceptive. Perception has to do with things are confusing, like the difference between acute and chronic, right? But you can shoot through it like an arrow. Okay. You can see through all the clouds. You can see through all of the confusion and get to the heart of what do you need to understand. So acute means sensitive, strong, smart as well. Very different meanings. Okay, so you have to be acute to be able to use acute correctly all of the time, but practice with it. Speaking of which, practice makes perfect. I've got an assignment for you. Of course, think about the last time you went to the doctor's. And if you feel uncomfortable, you can make something up. But pretend that I'm the nurse. Tell me about your symptoms. So write something. This probably would be better for an email, but get some writing practice and write to me about your symptoms. Were they chronic? Were they acute? This is great practice because a lot of people are uncomfortable going to the doctors and having to speak English. Okay? These are great words for that scenario. Practice. Send me something, and I'd love to help you out. For now, though, I'm going to let you go. Have a lovely day. I hope that you do not have any pain, acute, chronic, or otherwise. Okay? Have a great day. Happy Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year, if that's something that you're going to celebrate. Check us out at apexlanguages.com for more videos. Thank you, as always, for watching.